Okay, today we're going to talk about writing the equation of a line when I'm given 2 points. So yesterday we've learned when I have a slope and a point. Today we're only having 2 points. So before we can write the equation of the line, I need to find the slope. And remember, the slope is always given our rise over run. So how much is my change in y? Remember, on the one lesson we used this little triangle to express that it is a change in y. How much do I go up and down? In comparison, what is my change in x? How much do I go left and right? This is the definition of slope. I can actually find my difference for x and my difference for y when I have 2 points. So in this case, our y goes on the top. So let's just call this one our point 1 and this one our point 2. And the order in which we're going to find the change of x and the change of y really doesn't matter. So what you want to do is you want to take your y1, so the y coordinate from your 1 point, minus your y2. This is the change that gives you how much does it change over y. And then we're going to put it over your x coordinate 1 minus your x coordinate from your point 2. And this is the formula for slope. And we'll prove later on that it really doesn't matter if you do it this way. Or you could really just say, I like rather to take my second point and subtract my first point. And it will work out the same way. Really, you will get the slope either way. Whatever you prefer, as long as you subtract your first from your second or your second from your first and keep it the same for x and y, you will find your slope. Let's try it out. Let's make some room here and try it out. So what is my coordinate, my y coordinate from point 1? My point 1 has a y coordinate of 2. Then I'm going to subtract the y coordinate of point 2, which is 5. And then I'm going to use my x coordinate from point 1. And I'm going to subtract the x coordinate from point 2. Let's go see what this turns into be. 2 minus the 5 is negative 3. And negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. So 3 and 7 cannot be simplified. There's nothing that we can do. But actually, if I'm dividing a negative by a negative, I know that my slope actually is positive 3 over 7. This is my slope, m. And now I'm kind of back what already learned yesterday at LG 6. I know how to write an equation of the line when I have a slope and a point. And because both of those points are on the line, it doesn't matter which point I'm going to use. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to shortly pause this video. We were at finding the slope, which the slope was 3/7. And then I said it doesn't matter which point you're going to now pick to write your equation. Either point at the end will turn out to be the same equation. I'm going to take the first one just because the numbers are a little bit smaller. I like this one better. Remember from yesterday, our point slope form was taking y and subtracting your y coordinate and then plugging in your m and x minus your x coordinate. Let's make some room. Put the slope down here, so m was 3/7. Okay, my y coordinate is 2, so I have y minus 2. My slope was 3/7, and my x coordinate is negative 3, so I'm going to put in a plus 3. I'm going to distribute 3/7 x plus 6/7. And now we're going to have to actually deal with some fraction calculations here because I have to add the 2, which practice your your adding and subtracting with fractions. 2 is the same as saying 14/7. So 14/7 and 6/7 gonna actually turn into 27. This would be the equation of the line and slope intercept form. Let's bring it into standard form by bringing the x over. And then remember from yesterday, I cannot have an x that is negative or a fraction. So if I multiply the whole fraction now by -7, everything will turn out how I need it to be. In this case, this turns into 3x minus 7y equals -20. And here's your equation in standard form. Okay, let's do a few more. Again, I'm going to take let's actually take the second point first to prove that either way will work. So I'm going to write my second y minus my first y over my second x minus my first x. And let's go see what is it going to turn out. -7 minus 6 is -13. And -2 minus -2, which then is actually saying I'm going to add, actually is 0. And what do we know about math and a denominator of 0? We can't have a 0. This actually is an undefined slope. It's undefined. And if you remember, any undefined slope is nothing else than a vertical line. And you actually recognize this here. If my x-coordinate is always the same, I have a vertical line, like one like this, at x is equal to -2. So the equation for my line is whatever my x-coordinate is. And in this case, my x-coordinate is -2. And that would be your equation of the line. The same on the next problem. Before we actually go and calculate this all out, which I'll do anyway so you see it, but I can see that both y-coordinates are -2, which means if my y-coordinate doesn't change, I know I have a horizontal line, and any horizontal line has an equation of y equals whatever that number is, -2. And this would be your equation of the line. But let's prove this situation by actually using our slope form. I'm going to take our first coordinate and we're going to subtract our second y-coordinate over my first x minus my second x. And -2 minus -2 is actually 0 over 1. And anything 0, whatever your denominator is, your slope is always 0. So the equation of the line with no slope is a horizontal line with the y-coordinate of -2. So your equation is y equals -2. Okay, so this is actually the same type of problem we already had on the algae 6 yesterday. We already now have our slope given, so I don't have to calculate the slope. And we have a point. This is the y-intercept, which is 2. And remember, y-intercept always has an x-coordinate of 0, and then your y-coordinate is 2. So we can plug it in our formula. Y minus my y1, my point 1, equals the slope 4/5 x minus your x-coordinate. Simplify by distributing your 4/5. And because I have a 0, I know anything times 0 is just 0. I bring over the 2 with plus. This is now the equation of the line and slope intercept form, but we want to write it in standard form. So remember, I'm going to bring over my x. And now my problem is my x is negative and a fraction. So my magic number in this case is anything negative times -5, which then, let's put it over here, -4/5 times -5 is +4. x minus 5y, and then 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Here's your equation of the line in standard form. Okay. Last problem that we're going to do together. 2 points again. I need to find my slope. Let's take the first one, y coordinate of the first one minus the y coordinate of the second one over the x coordinate of the first one minus the y coordinate of the second one. My slope in this case is 4 minus negative 2, which is positive 6, and 0 minus 4 is negative 4. So in this case, I don't like negatives in the denominator. I just put it up front, and then 6 and 4 are both being able to divide by 2, so my slope actually is negative 3/2. And again, I can use either point now to plug into my equation. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use this one because it has a 0 in it. It makes my calculations be easier. Okay, so y minus my y coordinate times slope and x minus my x coordinate. Distribute. And anything times 0 drops out anyway. Bring your 4 over. Gives me a slope-intercept form of negative 3/2 plus 4. Now I have to bring it into standard form, which I'm just going to add the 3/2 to the other side. 4. And I need some room. The x is now a fraction, so I need to multiply my whole equation by 2 to get rid of my fraction, which I'm going to do over here. 3/2 times 2 is just 3x, and then 2y, and 4 times 2 is 8. And here's your line in standard form.